Alright everyone, welcome back to another Shoutcast match brought to you by Ratgoska. This is going to be another viewer submitted replay sent to me by Achilles, who, if I'm not mistaken, does the History of War segment for the StarCast show. So if you ever checked out that show, check them out at www.thestarcast.com. And his segment, History of War and how certain battles apply to StarCraft. And it's a pretty interesting segment about how teaching you about how to, flank your opponents to get extra damage done and things like that. It's a very interesting segment. Definitely check that out. But we have him spawning as the green Zerg in the northern position here on northeastern position on Barylen Altar, and we have his opponent Barylen. I'm gonna go with Barylen, spawning as the blue Protoss in the lower left position, clearly setting up to take his natural very fast here by blocking off this choke down here at the bottom. Meanwhile, we do have our Achilles getting ready to either go for a pool first, or he's going to be going for a hatchery first, so we'll see what he decides to do. But judging by the way his drone is moving out, he is going to be looking, and we do have cross spawn positions here on Barylen Altar. Looks like we do have a Forge Expand build coming up here from Barylen, which I've actually watched a couple of games on Mork's channel right now of a couple of Protoss players going Forge Expand, and they ended up cannoning him basically inside of his base, or cannoning his natural, so he basically had a hard time getting out any kind of real units. I mean, they basically would put, they'd sneak a probe in here and put cannons in here and shoot away at this natural expansion, much like a Terran bunker push. It was very, very interesting and annoying yet at the same time. And meanwhile, we do have this probe going out as well. So, I mean, he was having a hard time dealing with that. Barry, if you ever watch this, you definitely want to put the cannon, though, behind the pylon, as there's less surface area to get around and less Zerglings to destroy the cannon. It'd be a little bit trickier for him if it's behind instead of in front, but luckily for you, it shouldn't matter. Meanwhile, we do have that probe now entering the base. It's going to scout this extractor going up, as well as the spawning pool, and deciding to beeline it out of there before any kind of shenanigans occur, possibly to throw down some kind of trickery pylon. What our Protoss player could do is throw a pylon down here somewhere, anywhere down here, and basically get like 1 or 2 squares on this high ground, and then just float an observer up, or get vision of the high ground somehow by running some units in here, and then could warp in some units on the high ground. It's kind of a little trick you can do. Also, another trick on this map is you can send a Colossus up through this way. Since the ramp's way over here, you can send Colossus up this way and then shell this expansion with your Colossus too. So this map definitely does leave Zerg open to some pretty nasty aggression. We do have a cybernetics core on the way here for Achilles, or for Barry. Looks like he's just getting ready to throw it on that Nexus. Figured with the cannon up he would have started his Nexus sooner, but it looks like he's just working on getting his one base going right now, with that first Zealot now out and about and putting him in the choke point. So it looks like he's going to try and hold that off and getting ready, and here comes the Nexus. Bam, there goes the Nexus. And meanwhile, the Zerg's Nexus is up and about. We do have several Zerglings now on the map, and looks like they are headed out to the Protoss base, or they're going to hold the top of the Protoss or the Zerg ramp. I definitely was mistaken on that one. But we do have several Zerglings out right now. Queens are in production right now as well as this queen right here. So it looks like he is just getting ready to drone up, mass up units as best as possible. Zergling speed is now started, and lair tech is on the way as well. Meanwhile, that scouting probe did decide to turn back and run away, as losing its life was not valuable to the cause of Ire. Another Zealot is being produced, as well as that Chrono Boost research being pumped out as fast as possible. Currently sitting 19 Harvesters over 24, and it's definitely weird to see the Protoss player in the lead economically, but the Zerg player is starting to catch up pretty fast, as he does have several Zerglings or drones in production at once. Meanwhile, our Protoss player is sending out that drone scout again, and we'll see if he decides to live this time or if he decides to get taken out. Again, could definitely throw a pylon up here, but it looks like he just decides to want to hold this watchtower. And we have, ooh, what is this? A Stargate. Ah, I love Stargates. Definitely could be seeing some kind of Phoenix or Void Ray plan coming up here. And we do have these destructible rocks now being taken down for the Zerg player. It looks like he's getting ready to take a pretty quick third base. And Lair Tech did just now finish researching. So we're definitely going to see how this game decides to progress here in the future, as we've got both players taking a significant economic advantage in the early game, and my cat deciding to fall down on my hand and creating a magic box of her own. Looks like she really wanted to highlight some of those working units. Meanwhile, we have several more drones now being produced, as looks like we're just trying to get a significant economy being built. And the Phoenix is on the way. Alrighty, so definitely going to see some lifting action going on here with that Phoenix. And do we have a Void Ray on its way as well? No, does not appear so. Looks like Zerglings are heading out to take those watchtowers. Just to get vision, you know, that way he knows when the Protoss is pushing out. Could easily throw a Zergling here and here, so he controls all 4 watchtowers and get his overlords placed up here. And possibly, you know, even down here, just so he has complete vision of the entire map. But it looks like he's just holding his overlord down here to keep an eye on that likely third base from our Protoss. As well as there are several expansions on this map. Meanwhile, looking here in the Protoss base, what are we getting? We've got robotics tech on the way, as well as more Phoenixes or Phoenixi or... And in the Zerg base, we have a Spire going up, as well as a Roachwarn, and morphing in an Overseer. So you could be throwing down some changelings to do some scouting. And an interesting thing to note about changelings is I've actually been in a couple of 4v4s lately, where I've been able to drop down a changeling and literally run it to all 4 enemy bases and get super amounts of scouting information, and they wouldn't kill it because they just thought it was their neighboring unit. So basically you'd make, you know, it'd pop into a zealot and you'd run it into like the Zerg's base, and he'd be like, oh, that's just one of my friendly players moving a zealot in my base, so they wouldn't think anything of it, and you could easily get some pretty significant scouting information. Meanwhile, we do have several Zerglings on the map right now, as it looks like we do have those Phoenixes or Phoenixi flying out across the map, and let's see what kind of harassing damage that these units can do. Meanwhile, we will toss down that unit, and watching these overlords just get smoked by Phoenix. 1 overlord goes down. 2 overlords get taken out. Will he go for a 3rd and 4th overlord? Only time will tell, and there goes another overlord down. Ooh, this is definitely going to slow Achilles down here, as these overlords are getting taken out. And funny thing to note, if you continue to hold down the follow unit command, you can actually keep watching the units fly around here, as these Phoenixes are doing massive amounts of damage. Each one of these overlords is 100 minerals down the drain, and he is forced to create more in order to unsupply block himself, as he does have now 8 overlords being produced, as well as that Overseer. Will the Overseer get taken out before it gets away? Ooh, doesn't look like it, and down goes the Overlord. Meanwhile, let's look and see, do we have any troop movement out here right now, as those Mutalisks are also getting taken out. Several Zerglings here down in the base. They do manage to get that cannon taken out, but with some sweet force field action, those Zerglings are repelled. Meanwhile, these Phoenixes are doing significant amount of harassment damage, as there are several Overlords now being killed. But here come the Queen Army, and they're going to be taking these Phoenixes down super quickly. Microing that Phoenix back, and it looks like it is taking just a little bit more damage, and decides to get out of there before too much damage is taken. Will he lift up the Queen and take her out? Yes, gets 1 Queen taken out, as the other Queens are heading back to their bases. And it looks like, could we be getting some more free Overlord kills? No, not at this time. So these Phoenixes are definitely getting some pretty significant harassment damage. We've got 2 kills on that Phoenix, 2 kills on that Phoenix, 6 kills on that Phoenix, 4 on that one, and 1 on this one. So these Phoenixes are definitely paying for themselves. We do now have Colossus and Extended Thermal Lance, as well as +1 ground weapons coming for our Protoss player. And it looks like he is definitely taking the lead in this game, as he is now harassing another Queen from our Zerg player. taking out even more of those overlords, supply blocking Achilles yet again, taking out another overlord. Meanwhile, here comes the small queen army and the mutalisk forces to drive those phoenixes out of the base. Will he get one taken out? No, not quite yet. Working on taking out, manage to take out that mutalisk, but looks like, oh, picks up both queens. Will he get the queens taken out before this one phoenix dies with 6 life? Oh, loses a phoenix. Wow, that's definitely not good. This queen has 2 life left. Come on, Graviton, beam that queen up. It's only got... Oh, decides to get out of there, losing another phoenix in the process. 6 Stalkers now being warped in, as well as more Colossi being produced. Supply count's currently 115 for the Protoss, 78 for the Zerg player. So you can see that this phoenix harassment is definitely paying for itself, as he is now miles ahead of his Zerg opponent. But we'll see if Achilles can come back into this game. He is now on 3 base, but loses another overlord. Getting supply blocked yet again. Definitely needs to get some protection for those overlords. Meanwhile, we have a second forge being produced, more than likely to get these extra upgrades. No charge or blink started yet, so meanwhile just kind of chrono boosting out those Colossi, as he looks like he's trying to force Hydra Tech, but it looks like Achilles is staying on Ling Tech right now. Getting more pylons produced, as well as getting more forges, more gateways, and getting those Colossi morphed out as fast as possible. It looks like he did just take out the rocks to his 3rd base, so he's looking to expand to his 3rd, as he does decide to push out with this force here. +1 weapons did now just finish, and we've got some more mutalisks on the way. Blink is now being researched as well, chrono boosted out, and we do have several photon cannons being warped in to protect the natural of our Protoss player. Meanwhile, looking back at Achilles' base, he does have massive amounts of Zerglings here. Huge Zergling army, hopefully to be able to hold off any kind of early attack. But he definitely needs to get his tech up there, as these mutalisks probably are not going to be able to do that much damage against the phoenixes, as they can be countered. Zerglings now running away from the center of the base, and we do have this massive Protoss ball pulling up here in the center of the map. 139 to 117 supply currently. Here comes the army of Zerglings. Are they going to just clear the watchtowers, or are they actually going to go in to try to do some massive amounts of damage? And this one probe is getting lots and lots of scouting information. Is he going right for the 3rd? Yes, he is going right for the 3rd base. Is he going to force a cancel on this Nexus in time? Ooh, it's going to be close. Does the army move out yet? No, it looks like he's going for those pylons first. Takes out 1 pylon, 2 pylons, 3 pylons. And here comes the army from Bary. And these Zerglings are getting roasted up so fast. Does he get the cancellation on that Nexus in time? It's going to be close. No, does not appear he's going to be getting that canceled today, as all those Zerglings are taken out. Definitely probably wanted to get on that Nexus a lot faster. But needless to say, he did kind of force a reaction from our Protoss player. Several mutalisks now moving out across the map. And it looks like these mutalisks probably were not seen, but with this many cannons here in the back, it's going to be definitely tricky to do any damage. He's going to want to get into the main and possibly start working on killing off a lot of these pylons, although the Protoss player is now set up to go all the way up to 200 army. And we have a huge Protoss force here moving out, so we're definitely going to keep an eye on the mutalisk harassment as well as the Protoss army moving out. This could spell trouble for Achilles here, as he is now trying to take his 4th base. Mutalisks taking out as many of these pylons as possible, but meanwhile the Protoss army is now made it to his base. Will he be able to take care of this or not? But it looks like Stalkers are getting out of position, as they are in front of the entire army. And it looks like mutalisks are going for... Oh, looks like Achilles decides to GG out of that game, as he realized that the army from the Protoss player was just too much for him to handle. Only thing he probably could have done was maybe get his mutalisks in here to try and harass these Colossi some. But he definitely would have been able to, move the Stalkers back into position. And with as many Stalkers and Sentries as he had, a few Guardian Shields, and these mutalisks wouldn't have been able to do that much damage. But it looks like he was harassing this base pretty well. Hope you enjoyed this cast and many more like it. Please subscribe down below. And as always, have a good day.